Hi everyone, Tina and Dina here, and today we're going to talk to you about a very common topic and a very common problem called gastritis. Gastritis is something that if you have symptoms like a lot of pain and burning in your stomach, you can't really eat much because your stomach is bothering you. This is typically what we refer to as gastritis, and it can be an infection that's happening within the stomach as well, from things like H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, that can be happening. And so you're going to want to check that with your doctor to make sure that there's no overgrowth of that, because that can be a common cause of gastritis. I think that a lot of people that I see, even they kind of blow it off as, yeah, I have gastritis, I have this issue, I have reflux sometimes, and you know, it's just me, I can't eat a lot of foods.
Or just take a pill and it goes away. Right?
Yeah, or just take a pill and it goes away. Or a lot of people take a lot of antibiotics over and over and over again to address that gastritis, which again can cause other issues, right? Mm-hmm. So yes. Very important to kind of understand why this is happening and address the root causes. I think that what I typically recommend, which is also here in Cyprus and in the Mediterranean, is called mastic gum or masticha. And masticha actually helps to, studies have shown that masticha is actually more effective against H. pylori than some antibiotics.
Amazing.
And so,
and natural.
And natural,
it
yes.
doesn't kill the beneficial flora in your intestinal tract.
Yeah. And so for a lot of people, they're like, what is this stuff? It's like magic. I don't have any pain in my stomach anymore. So that's a great place to start. And I think you, Dina, I know you have a lot of things that actually help gastritis in its tracks, like stop it in its tracks.
Well, as you mentioned, you definitely need to know the root cause for gastritis. A lot of people have this infection, Helicobacter pylori, but there are many other reasons that could be causing this condition. I mean, a simple thing as stress. If you are in a very stressful lifestyle, you lead a very busy life and you skip lunches, you skip dinners, you don't eat regularly, or you maybe snack all the time, or you eat the wrong foods. This is all can be very...
I don't know anybody that does that.
Not us! Yeah, it could really inflame your mucosal lining of the stomach and cause gastritis, cause this inflammation. Another thing is that if you don't have a proper closure of the sphincter, it doesn't work properly, so it either stays permanently open or it doesn't really close when it needs to close, so that could be a whole problem in itself. Hiatal hernia could be a very big problem when, like, let's say in base terms, piece of your stomach goes inside of your esophagus, then it's caused hiatal hernia, and then it's another issue. There could be issues with SIBO when the small intestinal tract has a bacterial overgrowth, and then when you're bloated and all this happens, obviously part of your stomach kind of is pushed up, and then you have also burning and opening of the sphincter, which causes GERD. So you really need to understand why this is happening to you, and then you can take measures. Mastic gum is a fantastic remedy. We always recommend it. We recommend sea buckthorn oil. That's a fantastic oil that has omega-7. It's highly healing for the mucosal lining. It could be great, for example, in those instances where you feel burning, you don't know what to do, oh my God. Just take this sea buckthorn oil and you notice how this beautiful oil just goes down and, you know, putting out fires. Yeah, it's beautiful. There are certain things and techniques you can do and exercises and corrections for the hiatal hernia. But let's just focus on things that you can take, which are easy things, like to really put out the fire right now before you come to us and hopefully find out the root cause.
Yeah. I mean, so when you feel that fire inside of you, there are foods that exacerbate that.
Yes.
So if you're drinking a lot of caffeine, a lot of coffee, that can definitely exacerbate it. If you're eating a lot of high fat foods all the time, especially fatty foods that are not good fats, they're just processed fats, very bad for this kind of issue. If you mint can actually start to, so what do we do when we go out, right? We go out, we have a big meal, we eat too much, which also can exacerbate the problem.
Yes.
We eat a lot of fat, then we have our coffee afterwards with dessert, so even more fat and caffeine, And then we have a mint on top. So that's just creating a perfect storm right there to have those issues. So sometimes mint can definitely, you know, stay away from that. Tomato sauce or tomatoes can also exacerbate the problem for some people. So try to stay away from sauces, a lot of fatty processed fats.
Citrus fruits sometimes.
Citrus fruits sometimes.
Garlic, onion. For most people, they feel burning after garlic. Yes. And also, I would like to add to what you just said. The combination of your meals is extremely important. A lot of people feel this burning and a lot of irritation when they eat a combination of carbs and protein, because this combination stays longer in the stomach and starts fermenting, and when that ferments, the gases fermentation open the sphincter and you actually have GERD, this reflux and burning. So if you're experiencing that, you know that you need to learn how to combine foods. So definitely when you eat your meat, eat it with the vegetables, not with the carbs. And if you're eating your carbs, then carbs again with vegetables, but not meat and carbs together.
So it could be like a baked potato with a big salad, or some quinoa with some nice vegetables mixed together. Or it can be your nice piece of chicken with some roasted vegetables, not potatoes.
Not potatoes, yes. And not sweet potatoes, because those are carbs and starchy.
So we always want to do this kind of combining. And also, sometimes small and frequent meals as well, instead of like stuffing yourself all at once and eating a lot at once. Kind of pacing yourself and eating smaller, more frequent meals can also help to address that issue.
Very good. And out of the remedies, I mentioned sea buckthorn oil before. We mentioned mastic gum. Tina mentioned mastic gum. And we can also add something like DGL, deglycerized licorice. Yes, so those supplements are fantastic for calming down the inflammation. Then slippery elm tea, anything gelatinous, slimy, that also is marshmallow root tea. And then for those who eat oatmeal, if you overcook it and make it really, really slimy, this combination is also very calming and healing. So I know people who, when they go through bouts of gastritis, they only eat porridge and they're able to calm it down really fast. Another remedy I actually remembered, and it's used a lot in Russia, is cabbage juice. Cabbage juice is not good for everyone, but if it's good for you and if you can tolerate it. So it heals ulcers in your stomach and duodenum. So what you can do is start with a little bit of cabbage juice before meals, about 5 minutes before, and then if it goes very well, increase your quantity up to half a glass before each meal. And then you will notice how the symptoms will subside. Again, not for everyone, but for those who, yes, works fab, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good tips that you can do naturally before going to the harsh medical stuff, not medical stuff, but the harsher medicines, let's say. And a lot of the time, just improving your diet and following these tips that we talked about here today, you're really going to see an effect and you're going to start feeling better. And not only that, probably a lot of your symptoms, because the stomach is the first place where you're breaking down food and ripping out the important minerals from proteins, like iron, like magnesium, like zinc, and all of which are needed for you to produce energy, right? And what are most people with gastritis deficient in? Iron, and they feel tired. So once you start to address that issue and you start healing your stomach and you start producing the right amount of stomach acid and you start digesting better, all of a sudden a lot of those symptoms associated with that, like fatigue, possibly hair loss, gastrointestinal distress, and all these things start to disappear and you start feeling better. So it's definitely one of those big ones that is very common that both Dina and I see a lot in practice. And it's very important to address and heal.
So if you have further questions, please send us a comment or an email, and we will be happy to give you a bit more information about how we can help you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.